mootness on the vax mandates, no scab laws, and a whole lot more. There's lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we have to get to this whole ghost company thing. It's a huge, huge scandal. This is Michael Cooper, and Andy Lee says, wow, she straight up lied about doling out COVID-19 relief cash to her own company. Incredible. The chair of the Liberals' Green Slush Fund told the committee that her company had not received any money from the fund, but the receipts show that her company received $217,000 in so-called COVID relief payments. Ruh-roh, Shaggy, right? Like, this is a problem. You're lying. And what, right? And they had to get legal advice. This is a big deal. Here is Michael Cooper. And I think this is very compelling and looks really bad on this federal government, period. Here we go.
Never 111,000.
Oh, it's too fast. Sorry, hold on. Here we go.
111,000 the following year in 2021. So that is inconsistent with what you had previously stated. Your company, in which you were the CEO and are the CEO of, received almost $220,000 from SDTC, approved by the board.
Honourable member, at the time of the board decision on those COVID payments, you recall it's March 2020. It was very difficult. We were very afraid that we were going to lose the investments that we made and the jobs.
Ms. Verschuren,
so the board sought...
Ms. Verschuren, I just asked you to confirm that money went out the door, nearly $220,000 to your company in 2020 and 21. $220,000, correct?
The board sought legal advice on how best to proceed
during the COVID payments. And you moved the motion to funnel that money out the door, didn't you?
Because funding went to existing portfolio companies, where conflicts were previously declared, so they were declared, and because no company received preferential treatment, the legal opinion
No money received preferential treatment. Your company received preferential treatment in the sense that you sat on the board and provided money to it that the RGCT report flagged as likely not complying with the contribution agreement.
Legal opinion
from who
was then received with no conflicts needed.
Who provided the legal opinion? Osler. And was Mr. Van Veen involved in providing that advice? Vandenberg, rather?
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
And he's he serves as on the council, does he not?
He's a member.
He's a member of the council.
Yeah, not on the board of directors.
And he was involved in providing that advice.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
Incredible.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
It's incredible. It is incredible. The legal advice was from another person who is also kind of on the inside of this whole thing. I don't know who Miss Van Veen is. I don't know if she's a parliamentarian, but the chair of the Liberals Green Slush Fund told committee that her company, she's the chair of the Liberals Green Slush Fund. It gets better and better. So it's just unbelievable. People are very upset, including other Liberals are upset. Everybody is upset about all of this, but it still doesn't seem like it's enough, does it? No says, very rare to see government MPs in committee digging into matters that won't reflect well on the government. Here's a Liberal MP, Pam Damoff, expressing disbelief that the SDTC chair, Annette V, didn't recuse herself from approving COVID subsidies to her own company. Here we go.
When this one thing came to the board, and you keep referring to legal advice that you got, it's obvious by your answers and your experience that you must have had common sense. To me, would dictate that you would question the legal advice and out of purely best practice, recuse yourself from that. Whether you got the legal advice or not, given your decades of experience, I'm just wondering why you wouldn't have trusted your own instincts on this, given the experience that you've had.
At the time, the board decision on the COVID, the board, they did seek legal advice, and because there were 140 or more of these projects, it was considered an operational issue. Everybody was treated the same. Everyone got the same amount of money, and therefore, we received that legal opinion that demonstrated this, and therefore it wasn't necessary to declare all the conflicts again,
you said
because
that before,
they were
though.
already declared. Those conflicts were already
I know.
declared.
I don't understand, given your experience and your extreme lengths you went to before you joined the board to ensure that there was no conflict. What, this is just my opinion, but why you wouldn't have said, you know what, out of an abundance of caution, I should probably walk out of the room and recuse myself on this one. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Any reasonable chair and person who's so involved getting $200,000? I think the next obvious question is, like, what did you do with it? Michael Cooper said you were not in compliant. The oversight committee flagged this as something that was not compliant with what they should be doing. And so that's a very strange thing. And so what did you do with it, right? Where did the money go? And the other part of her testimony as well, or her responses there that kind of are strange to me, is she kind of cites being fearful, being afraid at, May or March 2020. So, the beginning of COVID, and everybody had to move fast, and you couldn't ask questions, and you couldn't do this and you couldn't do that. It just seems. There was recently a video of a woman who got pulled over for drunk driving. She was going the wrong way, and she started saying that the officer was making her frightened and that he was intimidating her. And she failed she failed the roadside test to see if she'd been drinking. She was falling over and she couldn't walk a straight line and blah, 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 blah. And it seems like a lot of the responses that girl was giving are similar to the responses that this woman's giving as well. If you haven't seen the video, she cries and she says, it's not my fault. It's this, it's that, blah, 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 blah. It's just a very strange pattern that I picked up on there. Here's Larry Brock. He says, the government asked GC Strategies, the ArriveScam middleman, to bid on a contract just 2 weeks ago. The company got paid $11 million for doing no actual work on ArriveCan. Why are these liberals so obsessed with this company? So this is 3 minutes and 21 seconds. This is just the last 30 seconds. I think this is Larry Brock kind of wrapping it up, but I think I might have to back it up a bit further. Hold on. Okay, I'll show this back and forth. This is 2 minutes into the clip, but Larry Brock is saying, why was GC Strategies included in a tendering package when you knew they were under police investigation over this exact thing, and so on and so forth? And the response is subpar, right? So here is that back and forth. Here we go.
In this case, it would have been
of whether or not they've received national attention under criminal investigation. Full well they've lied at committee. Mr. Firth has lied at committee. He's committed the act of forgery and fraud with respect to changing resumes, and your department thought it prudent to include him in a tendering process, knowing full well that he doesn't have staff. Why couldn't you simply reach out? This is for temporary staff. Why couldn't you put an advertisement on LinkedIn or an advertisement on the internet asking for help? Why did you need a consultant to do your basic work? Why?
Mr. Chair, these instruments have been put in competitively. Many firms have bid these, have spent time to get on these arrangements. A requirement, I'm not familiar with the full details, but I can imagine that a requirement came in for services under this instrument, and our procurement officers would have administered the instrument as per the rules. As we mentioned before, they're under investigate. GC Strategies is under investigation, but they are still member of these instruments.
So while you're under investigation, you can stay in good standing and be offered new tenders by the Canadian government. It's no problem, right, Mr. Brock? Sorry about that, Mr. Brock. Just incredible. Andy Lee has been looking for office buildings and the locations of registered locations for these middlemen contractors, and a lot of them end up being empty buildings, et cetera, or they didn't exist at all. So where the address says it should be, it just doesn't exist, or the company is not on the building list of companies that are in the building. Now, somebody pointed out maybe these companies were registered pre-COVID, and after COVID, those company offices were no longer needed, so the company stopped using them or whatever, right? And maybe, maybe that could be viable. That could be a passable explanation. But there's more to this than just that, I think. And Andy Lee says, all phone numbers for individual offices lead back to a central system where you choose the city to leave a message. You're then told for each that inboxes are monitored infrequently. If you get $100 million a year in government contracts, shouldn't you monitor your voicemail? And then she's responding to her own tweet here where she says, update on office number 4, company receiving multi-million-dollar government contracts, which is supposed to be another headquarters in Ottawa and is the registered corporate address. The company says online they have 300 employees. Where are they hiding all of them? And it says, hi, Andy Lee. I visited blank. This is a 5-floor office tower with Suite 100 being on the ground floor next to the currently closed coffee shop cafe intended to service the building occupants. The office suites on floors 2, 3, and 5 are all vacant. Floor 4 is occupied by the Canadian blank and affiliated entities. Suite 100 is glass fronted, and I have a picture of that from the lobby. The office is not identified with the corporate name, and there's nothing listed on the company directory in the lobby. The Suite 100 space looks vacated, although the lights remain on. There's no evidence of any staff in the suite. And Andy Lee, again, this is another office update. This is number 3. So the offices are faulty or cardboard cutout offices, if they're offices at all. And they say they have 300 employees, but where, right? It's a very interesting and very concerning situation where you've got people who are in positions of power, like the chair of the SDTC giving her company a couple $100,000 after receiving a legal opinion, but at least thankfully somebody flagged it as probably not being in compliance. But it doesn't seem like there's going to be any. Will there be accountability, do you think? I would be very surprised if there's accountability. I would love to see accountability. Pay that back. Tell us what you did with it. What did you buy with it? That would be interesting, but it doesn't seem like Canadians are interested in that. And also the scandals seem very complex. And so the Canadians who do want to see it would be few and far between, which is unfortunate. Moving on to the next scandal. This is kind of a scandal going under the radar. Yesterday, Paul Mitchell says, bad news for Canadian businesses. The NDP and big union extortionists have forced the Trudeau Liberals to introduce a new government bill to ban all replacement workers in Canada. This will embolden union extortion like never before. And so this is 45 seconds of Jagmeet Singh announcing this. I guess we'll watch it. Here we go.
The best way to get a powerful paycheck is with a powerful union fighting for workers to get a fair share. That is the best way. I want to thank the labor leaders that are here today. I want to thank my NDP caucus that's here today. After decades of battle, after decades of fighting, we are finally going to see a government bill that we forced to make happen that's going to ban scab workers in our country.
I think it's funny that Jagmeet Singh steals Pierre Poilievre's phrase and tagline, like the powerful paychecks thing. Does he think that other people don't know that that's Jagmeet, or that's Pierre Poilievre's line? Like, I guess it's flattering that he's stealing Pierre Poilievre's thing, but that's weird, right? A strategy in SEO is to go after, is to use your competitors' keywords, and this is a version of that, maybe? I don't know. Is he just betting on the idea that the NDP don't watch the news or watch conservative outlets or watch Pierre Poilievre interviews at all? They'll never know that I stole this from him. It's weird. Anyway, Mark highlights, not me, Mark, this Mark, highlights the bad side of the no scab worker legislation. And this is his color on this. He says, what people don't understand is that if a union strikes at say a medium-sized resource project or a mine, and the strike goes on for a long time because the demands are insane and impossible, there will come a point that the owner of the mine will just shut it down for good, as the cost to just maintain the site through a strike will destroy all possibilities of revenue in the future. The healthcare system is a prime example as to what happens when unions become too powerful. The client, the patient, and the essential staff, the doctors and the nurses, end up suffering the most, whereas the bureaucrats hold all the power and thus all the money. The idea that making it impossible for a business to hold employees to account or to control their budgets and payrolls without influence due to corrupt union executives will be the death blow to any business that is forced to hire or work with any union at all. This is socialism at its peak destruction. F you, Jagmeet. Maybe it's time we stop letting foreigners become politicians and only allow Canadians who were born here to a family that has lived here for more than one generation. But I doubt any of any of anybody has the stomach for what's it's really going to take to end the influence and destruction by communists in all level of Canadian politics. Yes, the communists are here, and yes, they are wreaking havoc. And it is possible to fix this. We can fix this. It's just a matter of being able to articulate it properly and then sell a better outlook than what the communists are selling. Because the communists are selling a death cult, basically. They're selling climate change is going to kill us all unless we kill ourselves first, basically. And I'm just not on board with that. I'm not on board with that. I'm not subscribed to that way of thinking. So it's quite something, but we can fix it. We can. It's possible. It's possible. Although with the world being kind of in the grips of this WEF New World Order kind of post-national communism, if Canada did break free of the communist overlords that are ruling it right now, it would be, I think we'd face headwinds. Like there's difficulties now in Europe with Poland and Hungary because Poland and Hungary don't want to do what the EU wants them to do with regards to migrants. So there's friction there. And I could see international friction if you got a government of patriots in Canada who closed borders and who said, get lost to the UN, who defunded the WHO. You'd have a situation where the international community is losing their ever-loving minds and saying, Canada's run by alt-right crazy people. It's been taken over by Haitian gangs. And the international community might come together and denounce Canada or something to that effect. Or they might say, the real governor of Canada is Justin Trudeau here in exile. That's probably a stretch, but you get my point. If for some crazy reason we were able to take over, I feel like it would be a temporary reprieve. It wouldn't last because of the way the world is right now. So I hope I'm wrong about that. But hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to CanadaPoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful